What's going on, guys? Welcome back to NolanTCG, and we are back here for another month of the OCG recap. So this one is going to be coming at you a little early. Given that we have the ban list happening at the end of this month for us, I would rather get into content related to that if we do receive it early. So we're dropping it a week early just to kind of get it out there. OCG's had a ban list as well, so we'll start to see their format twist because people over there tend to switch over to the new ban list early. So we'll probably start seeing some new ban list content and stuff flow through from them over the next few weeks. And we'll get into that probably early October. However, it is still running around with the previous format in what we got from here. Virtual had surprisingly taken a bit of a backseat, given that it was kind of dominating before the ban list kind of dropped, and the ban list dropped halfway through the time period that these decks have come from. So, yeah, quite interesting that it had already started to see a bit of a drop-off. Maybe people were siding a bit more heavily for it, or had kind of gained an understanding of how they were going to play against it. But, of course, before we do get started on this one, please do remember to drop down below and hit that subscribe button if you are new here, because we are always happy to have new people on the channel. And let's get on to this OCG recap. That's the word. Okay, so starting us off, we're going to have two different Brave variants on this list. The first, on this episode, of course. The first one is this PK list that you see before you. The second list will be the list we feature last. That is quite unique. It is essentially just an OCG good stuff list that is now revolving around, or running around out there, that was developed by the 2019 World Champion. So it is quite interesting, but we'll get to that when we get to it. First off, we do have PKs. I haven't read a lot of the Brave archetype stuff, so we are going to go through that as we go through the video like we normally do when we're introducing a new archetype on the OCG recap, so we'll go through all of these one by one. So starting us off, we do have the Aquaman Store of the Sanctuary. So if you control a Brave token, you can special summon this card from your hand. It's kind of a generic extender. You can banish this card from your hand or graveyard, add one right to Aramesia. I believe that's going to be the good one down here. From your deck or graveyard to your hand, so it recurs the graveyard one as well. If you control one Brave token, you can place one field spell that specifically lists Brave token from your deck to your field spells. That's very good. And it's not a super hard once per turn. Okay, I now fully understand why this deck is good. It's just free extension for days, essentially. Then we go into the rest. So we've got 3 copies of Ash Blossom. Of course, pretty much every deck at the moment over there is playing Destiny Heroes. So we got the 1 Celestial and the 1 Dasher. 3 Maxi as we switch over to OCG to clear up the fact that this is not banned. It is at 3. Then we get into our PK line. So this guy was playing 2 Ancient Cloak, 1 Gloves, 3 Boots, 3 Torn, and then 1 Wandering Griffin Rider. This is another Brave token card. So during the main phase, if you control no monsters or you control Brave token, you can special summon this card from your hand. Well, when a card or effect is activated while you control a Brave token, quick effect, you can shuffle this card into the deck, and if you do, negate the activation. If you do, destroy that card. So it is just a simple negation that involves the Brave archetype. You play it at 1, obviously, because it shuffles itself back. Although I'm assuming there's a way to rota for this. Given that you'd want to have it all the time. Then we get to our spells though, so we do have more negation soon coming in the TCG, as it was just announced for the Megatins. So we'll definitely see a bit of warp warp to our deck list as we go along here. 2 copies of Call by the Grave though, followed up with the 3 Crossout Designator. This duelist wasn't playing a bunch of like random one-offs. I believe he was just playing the 1 Impermanence. This is one kind of random, I need to stop this card. Then we have 1 copy of Draco Back the Dragon Steed. This is the equip spell. So, equip only to a monster you control. You can only control 1 Draco Back Dragon Steed. You can only use each of the following effects of Draco Back the Dragon Steed once per turn. While this card is equipped to a non-effect monster, you can target 1 card your opponent controls, return it to the hand. Okay, so pretty good. You equip it to the token, and then you just bounce something. If this card is sent if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target 1 Brave token you control, equip this card to that. There is a once per turn clause in this, yeah. You can only control 1. You can use each effect once per turn. Okay, so you get 1 bounce, and then you get the 1 recursion. So it makes sense as to why you're only playing 1 of this. Then we get into 1 copy of Foolish. I'm assuming that's to send the Aquamancer so we can banish from grave and get the field spell. If you control a Brave token... Or not. Oh no, it's banished from the graveyard. It adds this. Okay, yeah, it adds this. Cool. So it gets the recursion still. Oh, it gets the search. Then we've got 3 copies of Fusion Destiny, of course, for the Destiny Hero line. Then 1 copy of Journey of Destiny. So this is not Fusion Destiny. This is a different Destiny archetype. Imagine. If you search Destiny cards, you can do all of it. So we've got Journey of Destiny. Each turn, The first time a monster you control equipped with an equipped card will be destroyed by battle, it is not destroyed. Okay, interesting. And I believe... does Phantom Knight's Wing count as an equip spell? I think it does. Okay. Oh, yeah, it's an equipped card. I think that counts. This also just, like, protects it as well, doesn't it? It is not destroyed the first... Yeah, so, like, 2 times they were required to be popped. That could be very good. Okay, so then each time is not destroyed. You can only use each of the following effects of Journey of Destiny once per turn. During your main phase, you can add one monster that specifically lists Brave token. Okay, so that's how you get your Wandering Griffin Warrior. Then send one card from your hand to the graveyard. That's fine, you're playing PK, that's where the synergy comes in. If a monster is normal or special summoned, you can take one Brave spell that specifically lists Brave token in its text and either add it to your hand or equip it to one Brave token. Okay, that's a pretty good card. That's quite good. Definitely try and remove this. Then we've got one Rotor, of course, because it's going to add you Torn Scales. This is not searchable because it is a spellcaster. Then we've got the right to Aramisa. So if you control no Brave tokens, special summon one Brave token. Always good. Then if you control Journey of Destiny, you can place one Journey of... Then if you do not control Journey of Destiny, you can place one Journey of Destiny from your deck to face up spell and trap zones. This just activates this from deck. That's pretty good. This can't be ashed. Yeah, places from deck to... Yeah, this card can't be ashed. It summons a token from nowhere, and it activates from deck. That's really good. You cannot activate monster effects the turn you activate this card, except special summon monsters. What's the... You can special summon this. It's fine. Wait, yeah, you can special summon this card. This fine. Yeah, interesting. You just play a deck with no normal summons. Okay, I quite like Brave. I haven't had a good read of it yet, but here we are. Then we've got one copy of Imperm after this with the 3 copies of Fogblade and the 1 Wings. Then we get through our extra deck. This has, of course, got the 1 Destroy Phoenix Enforcer that's in every deck at the moment. 1 AA Zeus, 1 Downed Magician, 2 Leviair. Then you got your Draco Future package, so you got the 1 F-Zero and the 1 F-Zero Utopic Draco Future. 2 copies of Break Sword, of course, with the 2 Leviairs. This is how you're getting through to this. Then we've got 1 copy of Access Code Talker for the first of our links, along with a Cherubini, a Unicorn, a Link Spider, of course, because you want to get rid of those tokens, 1 Verte Anaconda, and then 1 Rusty Bardiche. Going through our side deck, after that, of course, we have 2 copies of Lancia, 3 copies of Droll and Lockbird, 1 copy of Gameciel, 2 Nibiru, 2 Forbidden Droplets, sorry, and then we've got 1 Harpy's Feather Duster, 2 Lightning Storm, and 2 Twin Twisters. This is just your standard back removal. Okay, next off we have probably the thing that Jake is most looking forward to. If he's probably watching this video straight away because I told him that I had something that he would probably be interested in going up tonight. So then this is Agents. This is what is essentially going to be revolving out of the structure deck. Hopefully we receive the structure deck in the TCG. I don't see why we wouldn't receive the structure deck in the TCG, but hey, we have Agents. It's only going to be slightly expensive because of Diviner. Hopefully everything else is cheap. There's Droplets, but hey, just have Droplets, you'll be fine. Then we go into our deck. Oh, Access Code. Oh, this didn't get reprinted in Megatins. Oh. Okay, so going through the deck, we will go through these again. Sorry, I haven't been through these properly. So we'll go 2 copies of Agent of Life Neptune. So you can discard this card, special summon 1 the Agent monster from your hand or graveyard. It is not going to summon Venus from deck. Poor Logan. So that is that, but it cannot be tributed until the end of your opponent's turn. If Sanctuary in the Sky is on the field, or in your graveyard, you can special summon 1 Hyperion monster instead. Okay, that's pretty good. If this card is banished, you can add 1 Sanctuary to the Sky from your deck to your hand. Cool. I'm not sure how they would banish it, given that he's not playing the draw spell for this. We'll figure it out. But then after that, we've got 3 copies of Agent of Mystery Earth. Then we've got 1 copy of Venus, of course. Only 1 Shine Ball. It's probably not super important in the deck, given that you have a whole bunch more things you'd rather be doing than spam Shine Balls, make Sayuja do full spammy combo. And then we have the other of the 2 Hyperions. So we have Master normally. This is the new card, Majesty Hyperion. So you can special summon this card from your hand or graveyard by banishing 1 Agent monster from your hand, field, or graveyard. You can only special summon 1 Majesty Hyperion once per turn this way. So it can be special summoned Neptune's way in that, but you're only playing 1 copy, so you're only going to have really 1 to kind of revolve around. Any battle damage you take from battles involving fairy monsters is also inflicted to the opponent. That's a nice cheese there. Once per turn, you can banish one fairy monster from your hand or graveyard, then target one card on the field, in either graveyard, banish it. Okay, cool. So that's how you're going to banish out your Neptune. That's going to resolve your search. You can guarantee you always pretty much get to Sanctuary of the Sky, because I'm fairly sure the new spell also gets it. And then, if Sanctuary fires on the field, you can use this effect twice per turn. Okay, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Considering if you get rid of your Neptune and activate it, and then you just go again. Yeah, seems decent. Then we've got, of course, the one copy of Master Hyperion, the one Shine Ball to go with the Venus. We've got one copy of Trias Hierarchia. I did not actually know this card was out in the TCG. When I was building this list, I was like, no, this is an OCG card. Nope, it's been out for a while. Then one copy of DD Sprite, banishing one face-up monster you control, of course, it's going to banish out your Neptune, that's going to net you search. 3 copies of Diviner of the Herald, probably the most expensive card that will be in this deck when we get to the TCG. 3 copies of Ash Blossom, 3 copies of Maxine, the 1 Nibiru. You're going to be comboing off quite a lot, so you cross out, which we do have access to now. We'll need to get rid of your Nibiru. And then we've got 1 copy of Korribane, of course, for our Trickstar package. It's just a free special summon, you can kind of go with that. Then we've got 1 copy of Light Stage, of course, to search the Korribane with the Terraforming to either get it or your Sanctuary. The Sanctuary is very searchable, so it's very rare that you'll actually need to search it that way. Then we've got 3 copies of Sacred Water of the Sky, so this is the one that activates Sanctuary in the Sky directly from the deck, or add a monster that specifically lists that card from the deck to your hand. Then if Sanctuary of the Sky is on the field, you can gain 500 life points for each Hyperion, or the agent monster you control. Okay, cheese burn time. It seems like a lot of cards lately that are being released have these kind of random cheesy burn or gain effects. Could be a little bit kind of Konami trying to balance the game and really get all of these decks to not instantly lose when you get to time. Is good. You don't want to have prank kids ruining everything. And then you can banish this card. Okay, yeah. If your monsters that specifically list Sanctuary of the Sky in its text will be destroyed by battle, you can banish this card from your graveyard instead. Okay, cool. So it does give a bit of a Balance-like protection. Always good, always good. Then after that, we've got 2 copies of Forbidden Droplets. We aren't playing, of course, the Fairy to search it. 1 copy of Harpy's Feather Duster, of course, for your back removal. Then your 2 called by Triple Crossout. Let's fix this up. Perfecto. Then 3 copies of Prosperity. Your extra deck doesn't really matter. However, you are playing multiples of the stuff you genuinely need. Then we've got 1 copy of Impermanence, of course, again for the Crossout. And then 2 copies of Lost Sanctuary. So we'll read this one as well. When this card is activated, set 1 Sanctuary in the Sky or spell a trap that specifically lists it in its text directly from the deck. This card's name becomes Sanctuary of the Sky while it's on the field or in the graveyard. You can banish 1 fairy monster from your graveyard, then target 1 effect monster your opponent controls and negate its effects. Okay, so you wouldn't necessarily need to banish out your Neptune off this, because you're going to get a copy of Sanctuary of the Sky regardless, because you're either going to get the Sanctuary or you'll get the Sacred Water. Then target 1 effect monster you control, negate its effects until the end of turn. Always good. You can only use this effect of Lost Sanctuary once per turn. You can only activate 1 Lost Sanctuary per turn. Interesting. Then we get into our extra decks. So we do have another of the new Hyperions, so Master Flare Hyperion. You can send 1 agent monster or 1 monster that specifically lists Sanctuary in the Sky in its text from your hand, deck, or extra deck to the graveyard. Until the end phase, this card's name becomes that. I've skipped past a little bit there. This card name becomes that monster's original name and replace this effect with that monster's original effect. I believe you can use that to send stuff like Celestial Lord Parshath. You definitely can. Yes, okay. Cool. You can banish 1 fairy monster from... when your opponent activates a card or effect, you can banish 1 fairy monster from your hand or graveyard, then target 1 monster... target 1 card on the field and banish it. Okay, that's pretty good. So combined with the Che Ying, I believe this is also a banish. Yeah. That's double banish on the opponent's turn. That's actually quite competent. So I'm assuming your main deck line is essentially trying to set up Che Ying and Master Flare Hyperion. And then you're just going to try and, like, banish your opponent's stuff. Annoyingly, that, Master Flare does banish. Does Che Ying banish? No. Che Ying does not banish. Does not target, sorry. Interesting. Quite interesting. Then, of course, after that, we have 1 copy of Baroness Fleur. This is, of course, a negation, I believe. Yes. Then we have 1 copy of Che Ying. Then we've got 1 TG Wonder Magician. I'm assuming this is for as you're comboing up in your lines, along with another new card, the Executor of Hades Pluto. So this is once per turn, you can banish 1 monster from your graveyard, then target 1 effect monster on the field, change it to face down defense position. Not a... this is a... Okay, I was going to say not a quick effect. The next line. This is a quick effect if Sanctuary in the Sky is on the field or in the graveyard. That's pretty good. I like Book of Moon effects in the current format. It seems to shut down like a lot of those like 1-card starter decks. Then you can banish this card from your graveyard, add 1 Sanctuary of the Sky from your deck or graveyard to your hand. Okay, that's pretty decent indeed. Then we get into our link lines. We've got the 1 access code Talk of Pushing Game, 2 copies of Celestial Lord Parshath, 1 copy of another one of the new cards. This is Guard of the Ancient Moon. If this card is link summoned, you can send 1 Sanctuary in the Sky or card specifically lists it in its text to the graveyard. Or if Sanctuary of the Sky is on the field, or in the graveyard, you can add 1 Agent Earth, Mystery Earth. Okay, so that gets your agent. This is just okay. They kind of look the same, but I guess they're all the same. I don't know if they're different things. So we'll go. Where were we? You can tribute 1 fairy monster, then target 1 card your opponent controls, destroy it. Okay, this deck does not seem short of removal. Seems good. I give it way more credit than I originally did. After that, though, we've got 1 copy of Line of the Light Charmer, 1 Halka Fibrax, 1 Unicorn, 1 Entis, and the 1 Almirage that I skipped over. Then for our side deck, we've got 1 Alpha Master of Beasts, 1 Prankotops, 2 copies of Lancia, 1 Mystic Mine. I'm assuming it's to slow down the game state. The third Droplets, 2 copies of Lightning Storm, 2 Evenly, 1 Red Reboot, 1 Divine Punishment, list Sanctuary in the Sky in the Tard text, which is good. And then we've got 3 copies of Anti-Spell Fragrance. Okay, last off we have the deck that I mentioned at the start of the video. This is essentially Link Good Stuff, the deck in the OCG now, except it's Synchro Good Stuff. This is just kind of taken over from what used to be that old Halka Fibrax kind of teched out deck. Surprisingly, when you look at this, unsurprisingly, a lot of this is banned in the TCG, so you're not going to be able to have as much fun as they probably do over there. Although this may not. Yeah, I'm sure this is fun to play with and just kind of go wild and combo off with. But the deck, of course, does start with 3 copies of Aquamancer, 3 copies of Ash Blossom, 1 Carboneddon, 1 Crusadia Arborea, the Destiny Hero package in Dasher and Celestial, 1 Gillosaurus, 1 Jet Synchron, 2 Maxi, 2 copies of O-Lion, 1 Nibiru, 3 Sangan, 1 Tekatomborg and a Terratop, 1 copy of Wandering Griffin Rider, and 1 copy of Flamebell Guard. Then for our spell line, we've got 1 copy of Block Dragon, if only, Black Garden, then 2 copies of Call by the Grave, and 3 copies of Crossout Designator, followed up with 1 copy of Dracoback the Dragon Steed, 1 Foolish Burial, 3 Fossil Dig, 3 Fusion Destiny, 1 Journey of Destiny, followed up with the 3 Rites of Amarissa, and then 1 copy of Infinite Impermanence. For the extra deck, we've got the 1 Destroy Phoenix and Forxer, 1 Baroness de Fleur, 1 Savage, 1 Che Ying, 1 Coral Dragon, 1 Garden Rose Maiden, 1 Crocodragon, 1 Shen, 1 True King of All Calamities, 1 Cherubini, 1 Hulk, 1 Link Spider, 1 Almirage, not Almirage, that comes a little bit further, 1 Arurodon, and then the 1 copy of Verte Anaconda. Quite a lot of one-offs, considering they are all one-offs. That's essentially what this deck thrives on, is it's just taking from one thing to the next, to the next, to the next. You get through your synchro lines pretty easily, as well as your link lines. Quite cute to see them going into the True King of All Calamities as well, with you got your Shen and you got your Crocodragon. Then for our side deck, we of course have 3 copies of Lancia, 1 Droll, I'm assuming this is going to be for a cross-out target, then 1 copy of Maxi, which was the third, 2 copies of Gamma, which it is, I believe, now at 1 on the next ban list for them, with the 1 Driver. Then for our back row removal, this what appears to be a semi-standard line of 1 Duster, 2 Storm, 2 Twin, then 1 Infinite Impermanence, which is the second, and 1 copy of Red Reboot, rounds out the extra deck. The side deck, sorry. But that wraps up here for this month's episode of the OCG recap. Do make sure to comment down below if there is any decks you want me to chase up. As we are going into a new format, it'll be quite interesting to see how the OCG develops now that they don't have True King of All Calamities anymore, as well as a lot of other random things have been hit. So yeah, will be quite interesting to see how that goes going forward. But as always, I've been Ben from NolanTCG, and have a good afternoon, everybody.